Perfect.
Oh my god. 1 minute later. It's pretty cool looking hat. That is
Probably turn off the fan now, don't you think, or put it on low?
No? You're not turn it off?
Someone want to turn
Feeling
the
chilly?
fan down? Change the setting.
Oh yeah, maybe lower.
Good.
It's like high.
Yeah, medium.
Medium.
Is
Is that better?
Low.
Low.
That one more, yeah.
This one's on
Oh, that's good.
Low.
I can feel it over here. And it's less noisy too.
Why am I not so happy anymore?
I'll not be happy anymore.
Start streaming, sync. We're down again, so we can begin, or I'll catch up with you, or
Yeah, that's good.
some.
We can begin and you can catch up.
What is there to catch up?
Hi guys. I really appreciate you guys coming. This is sort of my weird debut as a spiritual, non-spiritual talker, spiritual skewer, whatever you want to call it. So for me, there's basically only one question, which is what the hell is going on here? Like, what the hell is going on? If you want to have the most amazing, bizarre, interesting time of your life, go ahead and ask the question, right? What's going on here? What the hell is going on here? There's a bunch of indescribable bizarreness that if you continue to sort of dive deeper into that question without needing to find an answer necessarily, everything just falls apart, which is great. Or not. depending on what you want. If you're looking for fulfillment, if you're looking for joy unending, if you're looking for confusion unending, what the hell is going on here? That's the question. So, what are you, you know? What are you? What the hell are you? What are you? What's going on here? Are you a person in the world? Do you have this idea that you're somehow separate from the other stuff in this room, from the other people in this room? You have a personality and tendencies and like stuff that you go and do, and things that you enjoy, and you know, this entire past that has been built up, and there's all these experiences that feed into the you that's here and now, and this sort of makes you this lovely castle of personality. What the fuck is that about? Is that true? I don't know. I don't think it's true. We sort of cling to this thing, like asking what is going on here. Maybe you're not a person in the world. Maybe you're not separate from all this stuff. Maybe you're not separate from the people in the room, or the chair that you're sitting on, or the light coming into your face, or the stuff that I'm saying at you. maybe you're not separate from that. So the best advice that I was ever given was by my all-time favorite artist. She's a painter, and she's this fantastic lady. I think she might be 65, but looks like 40, so that's cool. Ever young. But I met her. I was lucky enough to meet her and ask her about my art practice when I was younger, and she told me, don't be afraid to be dumb. And that's the best practice of all. It's the same thing, right, as asking what the hell is going on here. If you allow yourself to sort of doubt anything and everything, some really cool shit can happen, right? So be done with it. Like, just give yourself the space to, I'm a human being sitting in a chair. I doubt it. See where it takes you. Are you made up of your past? Doubt it, right? Be dumb about it. Go, I have no idea what the heck's going on. That's a really exciting question with no particular answer, with no need for there to be an answer. If you take a second to really be done with it. Let yourself explore your sort of apparent supposed boundaries of yourself, right? Because this is like a very, common basic thing, right? We have this idea that we're a body, and we're a body that's walking around in this world, and this body interacts with the table, or this body interacts with the stuff, or this body says stuff or gets stuff said to it. What happens when that dissolves? Is there a boundary between what you perceive your hand to maybe be and the air around it? Is there a boundary between that and the next? You have sensations, right? Healing, hearing, tasting, seeing. That stuff, this stuff of experience, that's the boundarylessness, right? So what happens if you doubt that you're a person? What happens? What's happening? For me, I always had a really hard time going all the way with this kind of stuff, right? Because it seems completely stupid, it's outrageous. I am a person, fuck that. God, that doesn't need to be a part of my thought process or experience. Why would I have to assimilate this into my new, belief about things? That I'm not a person now? How am I supposed to be functional with that? It's ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous. But it changes absolutely everything. I'm not a person separate from what's going on around me. If I'm not centered in my head and my body, if I'm the same as this air, if I'm the same as this light, if I'm the same as someone else's footprint, or dog shit for that matter, or whatever. Whew, that's pretty nice. Suddenly you're just kind of this boundless, infinite thing, which you always were. That's the great part about it. And then the fun question continues, right? What the hell is going on? And it's an endless, insane, joyful, bizarre, exciting inquiry. And there's not really a good answer other than that. It's insane, bizarre, blissful, joyful, and that's it. And that's an exploration. So a really unusual feeling once you sort of realize for the first time that this is the case and that it's always been the case. It takes a lot of unpacking, but it's comments, questions, concerns. I'm concerned.
So I guess would you constitute the human physical body as just like a mask for our like true being?
I mean, yeah, to some extent. I mean, it also is our true being, but it's just a tiny snippet of that, right? So, I mean, obviously we're here experiencing our body, we're here experiencing our hand touching our foot or whatever. We're seeing things, we're sensing things, tasting things. And those seem to occur in like specific sorts of places. If I drink some drink, I can taste it on my tongue, I can experience how it feels through my body, but there's a lot of stuff that's going on that's present. So it's more than that, I guess. Yeah.
You said multiple times that there's no point beyond the inquiry not to desire, I guess, an answer to the question. Are you saying that there is no answer?
I mean, the only answer is just sort of more questions. I guess it's sort of a cliche thing, but
See,
yeah, the deeper you
sorry.
go in, I mean, like, yeah, sorry.
I feel like by saying that there is no answer, you're kind of putting up another boundary. And I feel the things that tell us we're separate from what's around us and from our experience is our innate nature of separating ourselves up here.
Yeah.
Like we tell ourselves we're separate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by telling yourself there's no answer, I feel like you're kind of brushing aside a huge sensation that has tremendous implication on how we experience purpose and fulfillment and what that is, what that really, what it should be. Because what we should be told it is, not what we're taught creates that. We're taught this life purposefulness, but we don't seek it on our own accord. And I feel like
so that sort of feels like a glossing over to you. I mean, what I'm more trying to get at is that what's important is the curiosity about what's going on, rather than needing to feel like you're finding sort of an answer to everything. I mean,
the answer doesn't have to necessarily be like sentence or statement about the grand structure or design of the universe. It can be just, I don't know, a very simple humble understanding of your surroundings, a mindfulness.
no, yeah, and it is that. I mean, if you're asking that question and investigating that question, there's tons of wonderful subtlety that then you interact with and appreciate and learn about, and there's infinite learning to be had. So I mean, the idea that there should be, that there doesn't have to be a concrete answer, but the answer is the interaction. I mean, I spent quite a bit of time sort of reaching out for what I was hoping to be, the answer, right? I mean, I looked for God in various unusual places, and I mean, what I found, and I'm still finding, is that it's just all around, and that's as good an answer as any, but it's still just, there's lots for it. So it doesn't end up in any one spot. It's kind of, yeah. floats around quite a bit. It might not. It might not be that way for everyone. I don't know. The only thing I can really speak to is the experience that I've had, and that once I sort of gave up on looking for an answer, the Pandora's box opened up, and then, you know, seeing what reality is which is an infinite, crazy cacophony of stuff, constant occurring stuff. That's the answer. You know, the answer is this. It's call it God, or call it truth, or call it reality. But we're swimming in it. We're absolutely swimming in it. Yeah. Yeah.
What is your feeling about wanting to talk, to teach?
Like a feeling about it, like, like why am I so inclined?
What's going on?
I mean, well, so I guess it all started in my dream life. I would go up to my dream characters and sort of try and gently let them know that it's okay, you're in my dream. You know, you're a dream character. Everything's great. You know, yeah, all through this, like, it's been years. They'll be freaking out or stressed out and like jumping around and like running into walls or something, and I would go up to them and I would say, "Oh, it's okay." I would just lightly tap them. It's just a dream. You're just in my dream. It's fine. And I feel like it's the same thing now. I mean, I've never really been inclined to speak in front of like groups of people or anything, but this is the only thing that I'm probably more inclined to speak about, so just thought I'd give it a whirl. I mean, if people find useful what I have to say, then I think that's great. And so I've had a couple people tell me, "Oh, what you're saying is really interesting. I'd love to hear more." So, sure. If I can help my dream characters get at something cool and not run into walls or something, then that's pretty nice. So don't go running into any wall, kids.
It's good advice for him.
Oh, but I also, I mean, this has been an interesting group for me coming in, because I'm, like, you know, pretty young, and that guy Ventino, you know, he's doing it, so I figured maybe there's something useful to be done with this. I'm still sort of feeling it all unfolding in like this insane, everything is blooming most recklessly way. So there's like processing going on, and I'm totally done with it. I'm dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm probably much dumber than any of you guys about it, but
He's pretty dumb.
yeah. Give it a little. Yeah.
Let me use the word confidence. So there was a time when you were Gillian the seeker, right?
Yeah.
What's up with God? What's up with me? You know, stuff like that. And then something or things happened, right? Some kind of shift in your perception or understanding or way of looking at the world that, I know it's a clumsy word, but, you know, created a sense of confidence.
Yeah.
That there was a shift, let's say,
Yeah.
from a seeker to, would you say, a finder or a something, right? I mean, that's why, pardon me, confidence is, that's the best I can come up with.
No, yeah.
You know, like a moment you're like, I don't know what's going on, and then a moment something happened, call it confidence. It doesn't mean you now know what's going on, but right?
Right.
There's a qualitative
Right.
something. And I'm just curious if you could, whatever words come to you, to address that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure, yeah, you're probably not the only person who noticed that. I know you noticed it, and I know probably, once this shift happened to me, I've been much more sort of cavalier and, you know, blabbery and, and bizarre around the group in general. This thing, well, the thing which happened, which seemed a lot like just a big zing or a zap of epiphany or moment of clarity. It just, the implications of it were, there's really no need for anxiety. There's no need for fear. There's no need for a problem to be there. There's no need for me to have a problem. I mean, yeah, in the past I experienced like quite a bit of social anxiety going, for whatever reason, to be very worried about how, you know, this stuff out there is going to react to me, and I feared those interactions very much. And I might still, but it's like, oh, you know, okay, that's me, that's me, that's me. It's all good. So the confidence of seeing all this stuff as me and me as all that stuff, when the boundaries disappeared, yeah, the confidence or the sort of, it's an inherent, I guess, confidence, right? This stuff is just doing itself. Reality just keeps going and going and doing whatever it does, and I'm just maybe along for the ride, or yeah.
You are the ride.
I'm the ride. But again, you guys are that too, right? So you're along for your ride. You're made of a bunch of fading away particulate matter that fades into the other person sitting across from you or sitting next to you or into the floor. There's no need for there to be a problem. Everything is this one, it's made of one substance.
Do you have much, I don't know, immersive or, you know, moments of contemplative experience? Or is your experience punctuated by, you know, this fractal curiosity of zing zap and...
I mean, I guess there's both of those things. My energy tends mostly to be very keyed into, this sort of jerky flow, like jerky flow.
It works.
of stuff happening, of energy coming at you and going around and going through. If I meditate, it's very like, there's still a bunch of energy that's being zapped in, and it doesn't seem like anything's really resting that much. Energy doesn't really stop, right? It just keeps coming at you. There's always something going on.
Do you notice anything different about your, you know, waking state, sleep state, deep sleep state? Sometimes that conversation comes up about qualitative differences between these, you know, states of consciousness.
Well, I mean, it's all the same thing, right? You're experiencing all this stuff. So it's not that there's a dream state that's somehow different than the waking state, or somehow more or less real than the waking state. But I mean, yeah, it's all just stuff happening. There's just as much detail and sensation and noticing energy patterns and perceiving and weird stuff as there is at any other moment.
One more, if I may. What about the quality of your inner dialogue? You know, the inner Gillian. Is she still the same as you recall her, or has that qualitatively shifted at all?
I mean, the thing which happened with me was just realizing that I've always been this substance, there were sort of graspings at trying to find something to offer that up to, or to praise about. Oh, you know, there's this grand thing happening, which is this. It's cool. And now there's not so much the need to, you know, be devoted to anything. I mean, the Gillian with the concerns and the anxieties and the problems is more or less dissipated. I say more or less because there's a lot of unpacking of implication. It inevitably takes time to process all this shit. You know, I still throw hissy fits and get pissed off and freak out, and there's less attachment to that as a personality, though, and you can, you know, sort of try on different personalities and different, masks or outfits or whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm following Jeff's comment, question about the states. I noticed, like, one day you started suddenly describing deep sleep when you hadn't seemed to have had an awareness of that before.
Yeah.
What is that like? And what is that like?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think I first started to become aware of that just really pretty close to the time that I had this experience.
That was the same week.
It was like a little bit earlier than that actually happened. You're floating in a blackish void, and there's weird, weird twinkles of little thought energies and kind of things that go through your experience there. It's extremely subtle. It's probably more subtle than, well, it's not more, I guess there's no more or less subtle. There's just a lot less, like, what we're used to seeing, like all this visual stuff being bombarded by. There's some people there, there's legs there, and there's this stuff here, and there's, whoa, it's, stuff talking, and oh god. It's a bit more like, if you're sort of floating in this weird void. But the awareness of that state of being asleep, you don't think of it as I'm asleep, you think of it as I'm here, I'm experiencing stuff, right? And I don't know why that started, I don't know how that started. It's great if you can get it, but just don't try and get it. The thing of being aware of dreams shifting and changing and that entire landscape is really bizarre. If you can track what's going on in your, your dream experience, whether you're a bunny hopping along a path or the breeze passing by up above or whatever, if you follow where that goes, you'll see that stuff sort of can dissolve into this black state, or more blackish state, which can be really interesting. Feeling that is a really bizarre feeling. You can sort of see, like, no, I'm just sort of floating around. I'm not really anything at all. I'm not sure what happens when you die, but I would imagine that's kind of a lot what it might be. What it might be like. There's a nice feeling of going, oh, okay, I'm not really anything specific right now. Cool. I don't have to be anything specific right now.
But that awareness that you have when you're in a deep sleep, is that the same awareness that you have when you're awake and when you're dreaming?
Yeah, I mean, at some points it can be more or less sort of fuzzy or vague. maybe as a memory. I mean, it's not like I have it every night or something. That'd be really insane. I would be like walking around like this. You don't get a really restful feeling out of it that much. But seeing, you know, the weird sort of fading in and out of qualities or states or the sort of the energy flows is, yeah, just about the same thing, right? We can pass from one room to another and from one conversation to another or from one drink to another, and it's like this, it's the energy flow. That's how it is. It's bizarre.
Do you feel any loyalty or affinity for, you know, yogic Hinduism or Buddhism or the religion of your birth or something like that you would address in context of your experience?
I don't know what any of that stuff is, to be honest with you. I'm like McCarthy. What do I know? No, I guess at this point, it's just like weird. I don't know. I didn't want it. It just happened. I was in sort of the Christian culture for quite a while growing up. My family wasn't, but that was just the culture where I lived, and I was into the, well, wasn't into, but became into, or was pushed into, or brainwashed into, or whatever you want to call it, the idea of the Christian God, of the entity that is the divine thing that can turn you into stone or turn you into a pillar of smoke or whatever he wants to do at any moment. So you better do what you're told, and you better be a good person, or else, you know, you're fucked.
Forever.
You're going to hell forever. And that just sucks. It never seemed like the case, right? But people really want to put this on you, right? Because it's a nice, convenient, like, set of beliefs, right? It's easy, right? Here are some things that you can do to be a good person, so that you fit into the community, and so that God loves you, and so that you feel like, I'm set. I know the rules. I've got the chart. I've got the commandments there. I'm good, as long as I just do that. There's no exploring there, though. And if you do explore, then you know you're a bad guy, or a bad girl, or you're a witch. Yeah, maybe you're a witch. The structure of belief, and like I don't know shit about any of those other religions. I really don't, because I didn't experience that, and anyway, but the structure of belief is comfortable and cozy, but it's very limiting, and that's where, you know, if you can doubt, then doubt, you know, it's more fun and leads you to a lot weirder, more interesting places.
You mentioned that you weren't looking for this, it just happened.
Oh, yeah.
I won't hold you to it, we're just playing with it, right?
Sure.
So if I, sought your guidance and support, how I might also relieve myself from suffering, you wouldn't have any idea what to tell me to do or not do. Or might you?
To relieve yourself from suffering?
Yeah, let's say I wanted to enjoy what you are enjoying. What do I do?
Or not enjoying.
Yeah.
Gosh, you know, if you look at what is going on here, and if you follow that sense of curiosity and enjoyment and see where that leads, I mean, what suffering is made of can tend to disappear, right? The thing of suffering is basically the idea that something is happening to me and it shouldn't be happening, and I don't want it to be this way. I'm suffering now. If I stub my toe and I cry out, God damn you toe, what have you done? and I feel this attachment, like, no, this shouldn't have happened. I should never have stubbed the toe like this. This is not fair. I shouldn't be feeling this pain. Then, shit, Then you're suffering, and that's not very fun at all. If you don't want to suffer, the question of where is the attachment coming from? Where is my feeling? What is my feeling based in that this shouldn't have happened? I mean, that's more belief, right? If you have the idea that something shouldn't be happening to you, then you're screwed. If you can somehow detach from that, then you're not as screwed. Right? So, I mean, unfavorable seemingly stuff still happens to me. I have maybe a preference that doesn't happen, but if it does, I'm rolling with the energy, right? So roll with the energy of displeasure, and maybe it doesn't, have to be the end all be all, maybe there doesn't have to be this suffering. Stuff always, energy always changes as it goes forth, as it plays itself out. That as for advice on how to not suffer, I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know.
It's worth the question.
I mean, I just don't know.
Does it come back to your original question of what the hell is this?
Yeah, I think it's just
Hell is
what's
this?
going on. What is it made of? I mean, it can offer you a prescription pill to not suffer or something. But the more questioning you engage with, and probably the less you're going to feel tied to this event or tied to this supposed to be, right?
So, I was asking about this the other day too, but suffering has to do a lot, happens more when I'm not examining things, I'm not looking at them carefully, and then if I'm looking at them carefully, then I see that suffering is related to beliefs. The beliefs are these weird energy constellations. There's all these holes in them. They're not what I thought they were. It's like so it's an access point for seeing the unreality of what I was even calling suffering. But it takes for me it seemingly takes a lot of focus or being on retreat or really having something, really suffering a lot, and then I'm so distraught that I'll actually just go straight at it like that out of necessity. But to me it seems like it's not natural. It actually takes some kind of effort or jarring thing, but related to Jeff's question is it seems like something can people like your experience or other people describe, there can be some way that habitual tendency to see things in the light that I'm suffering can go away a lot all of a sudden potentially.
Yeah.
And I guess I have the same question. Is there a way to precipitate that happening, or is it just being struck by lightning and you just wait until?
I mean, you don't have to get struck by lightning.
It smells.
Yeah, it's not gonna look pretty. I mean, the more present you can be willing to be with that stuff, the better. Maybe you're not always going to have the energy to confront that weird feeling and say, oh, I don't have to feel this way. It's not like that. There's no attachment there. It's not always going to be like that. But sometimes the energy is just intense and you have to sort of write it out, and then that's all you can do. But other times, if you can practice sort of asking yourself those questions in calmer settings, it becomes more natural for you to then ask that question, what's going on here when you're having this attachment to this supposed to be happening, right? There's not, I mean, one can examine what's going on and dive deeper and deeper and deeper into it as you know, you can do it as much as you want. Or as much as you can, or as much as you're, you know, as much as there's capacity to do so. I mean, it might not happen all the time, and that's okay. You know, you're allowed to feel weird and suffer. I mean, I'm not going to stop you. I'm allowed to feel weird and potentially suffer. It's stupid.
That's clear.
I mean, but then, you know, don't feel bad if you do end up in like situations where you're like, you know, you're suffering, or looking back on a situation where, oh, I'm suffering. I should have had more inquiry right then. I should have been a really good investigator and let that thing dissolve. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. So, but the more just sort of casual inquiry you can do whenever you want, the better. And then don't do it if you don't will. It's that easy. Yeah.
Can you say more about Barbie?
Barbie?
And you might have something to say about Ken as well.
What about Barbie? I mean, here I am and this girl, I guess. I'm young, I'm blonde, I wear lipstick, and I like weird stuff. I mean, what about... What about Barbie?
Well, you know, just the fact that you sort of have taken Barbie as your sort of, you know, included that in your spiritual launch. So I just want to kind of hear a little more about that.
I mean, I'm like this notoriously kind of, people look at me and the first thing they think is, oh, that's, you know, she's dumb. She's really dumb. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't have any insight into anything. She stops right here. No. But I mean, you know, I guess part of it's kind of a cultural jab, you know. I present myself as the, you know, and I'm very into fashion, and that's fine. And I also happen to have a really unusual experience, which zapped me full of some sort of recognizing what's really here, and part of what's really here is that I still get to enjoy my high heels and my lipstick and my, you know, and my fashion and my weird stuff, because I'm paying reverence to first to me, right? The divine stuff is all around you, and if you want to, you know, if I want to pay homage to the divine, then I'll wear my high heels. It's kind of like that. You just do what you want. That's reality. So that's a bit about alignment, Barbie. I mean, particularly religious people have the idea that, or you know, people change their name to like young swallow from the sunset or something like this, and wear all white clothes and become very serious, and it doesn't have to be that way, obviously, as we all kind of know. It's very hilarious what's going on. So, yeah, I'm just kind of fucking with it and hoping it works out. Should we take a break for a minute and graze and decompress?
If you don't mind, I have a question from a web person. Maybe we can...
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
Francine asks, can you elaborate on digging into my dirty laundry hamper and see what we can find from your Facebook post? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of bullshit. So I mean, my dirty laundry hamper of spirituality before this was, before whatever, the whole time, I don't know, has been belief and, sort of sufferings of feeling, hemmed in by what's supposed to happen, and castles of personality, and just all this elaborate bullshit that is completely useless in what's really, really here, which is reality, which is true, which is, call it God or whatever you want. The laundry hamper is a cute analogy for let's dismantle belief, I guess. Sure, why not? Let's do it. That's about all I can say about that.
I'll mute the mic, I'll keep the video live, and we
Okay.
can graze.
That's great.
All right, thanks.
Chai time.
costume, makeup.
Yeah.
Might did you stand to behold you too, Peter?
Don't think I can't do that.
I'll be looking for the
Wear a
ideas.
tiara. Some
Whole
glitter.
platforms
something
are
like
gonna
that.
come down.
I'll come in complete drag one night.
Yes, I thought about wearing a tutu, but wearing black leather, so
Next time.
that's different. Yeah, next time. Or maybe a horse head mask.
Oh yeah. Creepy horse head mask.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Could you say a little more about this unpacking that's going on?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I guess I could sort of explain the thing that happened to me that made more sense. This thing, I was sitting at brunch, and I was feeling very unusual, and I looked at my hand, and suddenly it occurred to me that that's not necessarily my hand, and it's not my hand, and that stuff over there, that's me. It's not me, but it's me. Oh my God. It just, I don't know. It was like an instantaneous stuff pouring into my head feeling where, I don't know, indescribable weirdness just zapped in. I got zapped. I don't know. I don't know what else to call it. And through my experience of whatever the past is previous to that, I've had sort of, I guess what I would call miniature zings, or I was describing it to you, like God's tapping me on the shoulder. They're like little moments of clarity, of indescribable sort of oneness, infiniteness, indivisibleness with whatever's there, followed by like this confusion, like to end all confusion of what the heck was that? I just had this really weird feeling, this really weird experience. Now what does it mean? So for me, the big one, the big zing, so I affectionately call it enlightenment or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know. I call it the big zing. In this moment of clarity, it was a moment of clarity.
Do you almost feel like you were woken up from one state into another?
Yeah, I guess it is a good way to like sort of describe it. It kind of feels like if you're in a dream, right, and then you realize you're dreaming. Suddenly you're aware that either this is all sort of a stage, or this is like everything is sort of almost made up in a weird way.
Yeah. All these things that you referred to, I feel like they're being awakenings.
They are, yeah. They're little miniature awakenings or big awakenings or whatever. Sort of, it's the feeling of, okay, so here it is. It's not that big a deal. Like, life is not that big a deal. It's just stuff happening to you, and here you are, and it's, for me, was an immense of clarity and knowledge and discernment and all this, and then the unpacking is sort of trying to understand how now I'm still going to be a functional human being or whatever. Like, how am I going to deal with what I've now been dealing with? Like, I'm a person, I'm not a person, I'm a bunch of bizarre energy that needs to express itself at certain times in weird ways, or in certain times at more quote-unquote socially appropriate ways. I'm a thing that now wants to explore this infinite, insane world of meaning and energy and stuff that I now know is accessible to me. I want to explore what it means to not feel to not feel limited, right? Because the inherent sort of quality of all this stuff is that there's no boundaries, there are no limits to what this thing that you are is. It's all of this stuff that's out here. It's this crazy energy. It's trying to there's a seeming, right, that we are in this weird sort of structure of other people's beliefs, at least. We're trying to be people in the world, trying to have jobs and careers and relationships with stuff. But what's really going on is insane. And how in the hell do you relate that to what everyone else thinks is going on? I'm a person in the world, and I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to walk down the road, and I'm going to think about what I ate for breakfast. Instead, it's like, ah! There's too much stuff to...
So you perceive it as insanity rather than sanity?
It's extreme insanity. It's but it's always been that way. But what it is there's endless energy just throwing itself at you in different expressions. And it's really, really great, and it's really, really bizarre. And sort of confusing at the same time. The really great part of it, which can feel sort of more sane, is the point where there's no suffering, there's no problems, there's no issue, there's no needing, wanting, like that. The point where it becomes a problem is where you start to express yourself so freely because of, there's no problems, there's no needing to be this way, there's no needing to be that way. It becomes insane when you go a bit overboard and all those ghosts around you are going, whoa, what's wrong with her? Yeah. What's she talking about? What's she doing? She's freaking out. Yeah, and they get really nervous, and just it's not that great all. So, I don't know if that answers sort of the question or not.
No, there was no question.
Yeah.
If you could boil it down to its most basic essence, what would you say the essence of enlightenment is?
Of enlightenment?
Mm-hmm. Well, you use that word, or whatever word you prefer.
Well, I mean, of
realization.
Of the realizing, of the, that's a tricky one. Realizing. That's it. It's not as if anything fundamentally changes. An understanding shifts, sure. Everything is colored in sort of a different light, or washed with a sort of different character, but the principal thing is just going, that's it, okay. And I guess for some people, it can happen really gradually, which sounds like a much more pleasant experience than what happened with me. But it's just it's a noticing and a realizing.
Realizing what?
That this is it. It's always been the same. It'll always be the same. It's not as complicated as we think, but yet it's infinitely complex, or very not complex but not complicated. That's how I feel about it. But it's not as if you need to get enlightened. I mean, it's not as if it's something you need to like look for, right? It's already here. It's already the case. I can remember times after my experience where I just felt like, oh, this is annoying, you know. Like, why did this have to happen? It would have been fine just going about like having no idea. But on the other hand, it is. So that's it. I don't know what you say about that. Yeah.
Has it changed your art?
My art.
Your art.
Oh yeah.
How so?
Since I realized that I'm infinite and that reality is my oyster, and it's mine for the taking, and I'm reality's for the taking, and it's like this really, it's as cheesy as they make it sound, you guys. You're only limited by what you can imagine.
It's true.
You're infinite. It's so beautiful. So I kind of went, oh, you know, I have access to anything at any moment that I want, as far as inspiration or creativity or bizarreness or stupidity or anything like that. So I decided that I wanted to make the greatest looking thing that I could think of. And I hope it looked cool, because I think it's pretty cool. But I decided to explore that. And I mean, I was making art before, but I hadn't made anything for many years. But the seeing that, yeah, there's immediate access to whatever you want. So I decided I would pull from that immediate access to whatever I want and make something that I thought was really cool, that in the past I wouldn't have felt like I was sort of confident enough to do, or competent enough to make this, or I would have felt worried by how the pieces would be received, or who was gonna, buy it, or who's gonna be interested in it. And instead it was just like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna make the coolest thing I can think of making. And so far it's turning out pretty interesting. But I mean, it can affect everything, right?
Sounds like you just became the captain of your own ship.
Yeah, that's right.
And it sounds like you realize this now.
Yeah.
Or not now, but you have.
Yeah. Well, it takes some captaining.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Some flailing and sinking and capsizing and captaining.
Do you feel like you, I feel like you've heard you say this, but you already knew all that stuff all along, so like with some paradoxical way, like nothing changed, but something changed?
Yeah, I could say like, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to I guess.
I was just intrigued by that. It sounds, logically it sounds paradoxical, but
yeah.
like does it seem like nothing changed because you already, it was already like that, and you kind of that?
Right. Yeah, it's extremely paradoxical. It's so stupid how paradoxical it is. I could say I've been enlightened the whole time on myself, and then I knew I was enlightened like a year and a half ago. And then it happened. The realizing what's here doesn't change what's here. It's just a seeing, or a clarifying, or a boiling down, or a shedding of the winter coat, or something like that. It was a shedding of of belief, which did itself. It should believe all by itself. What's fundamentally here is just enormous quantities of energy bubbling up and passing through and striking out and doing whatever it wants to do in various different ways and forms and seemings, and it's always been that way. I've always been my hand and not my hand. You've always been your hand and not your hand. You've always been the same substance as the rest of the stuff that you see and perceive and feel and sense, right? Nothing is changing in that way. But the seeing of that, either from asking what the hell's going on here and going deeper and deeper into that, or from getting zapped, or from meditating, or just slowing down and appreciating the subtleties of what's happening, you can see that it's made of all this weird stuff. And it's never not been, and that's the great thing, right? Weird.
You mentioned, or at least I think you mentioned, that you wish, I guess, your waking opening wasn't as intense as you wanted it to be. You're saying it was.
Yeah, it was insane.
So do you think that aided you into kind of becoming who you are as a person now? Like, you think if it was not as much of a struggle, would you have the knowledge and the openness that you have right now?
I mean, yeah, I guess I can't say any other way than what happened. But yeah, I mean, I would never discount reality's crazy outpourings in any sort of way. Like, it was a real jolt, that's for damn sure. And yeah, it freaked me out and blissed me out, and it's a lovely cacophony of insanity, and I love it. It was really unusual and sometimes hard to sort of adjust to, or as if there's any figuring out, but yeah, it completely changed my perspective on everything that is around at all.
Is it still hard to adjust to?
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's unusual. It's not. Probably not important. Like, all that much, but yeah, it's weird. There are like, there's like residue of belief that's like still cycled in and like stuck in the filter or something. So, you know, like, this is the unpacking, right? There's residue of belief stuck in the filter. The sort of reality of what's going on wants to just shoot forth and do whatever it wants. And the residue of belief, belief is so weird to even talk about, but there's residue. There's no other way I can describe it right now. There's residue that still sort of gets stuff stuck and doesn't maybe allow the fullest expression, and then that the reality energy just sort of smashes through it. And eventually the belief residue is getting cleared out. I know that that you had this experience of sort of a long, like, residue seeming thing, and I think that's kind of my experience right now. There's a lot of bizarreness, that's all I can say. Yeah.
I mean, like, you're still pretty young. Like, now that you're awake, what would you say is, like, the duty you're charged with, or what you think, like, the purpose for your achieving this, or being given this, since you said you didn't ask for it? Like, it was kind of a shock to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, through my experience, I've kind of come to not really believe in, like, the haphazard coincidence for no reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what would you say is, like, what do you feel like there's something you need to do with this new state? Or, like, do you feel like there's a purpose behind it?
Well, I'm feeling happy to be sharing it with people, as people are interested in it. Like, obviously I'm sitting up here in this comfortable chair, like, that's cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that there's anything insignificant or necessarily haphazard about it. It happened, and then there it is. And I can never ignore it. It's this bizarro whammo fixture in my experience. And yeah, again, sharing it with people is the best thing I can do. Yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Good.
I mean, there's like an old belief that I maybe held, which was around, destiny or something, where like this thing with this purpose that needs to be realized, and I guess it's that's not really the case. It's I'm a functioning cog in some great machinery, and that's great for me. I mean, that's exactly what it is. This is reality acting itself out in any way that it wants to act out, in any way that it wants to express. And my weird experience is, a cog in the machinery, or maybe I'm God, and maybe you're God, and maybe that's it. No, it's not that there needs to be a purpose, but it happened, and that's wonderful, and everything's been very wonderful. So, I'll do my duty by that, and talk to people, and that's nice.
I was wondering if you could talk about the changes that happen to you during the day, or your sense of self.
Yeah.
As it was previously. I would take it that really based on a certain way of thinking, certain thoughts that you had about yourself, just a feeling of self, and how that evolved, or how it continues to evolve.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, the sense of self just immediately evaporates. It's as if I mean, it's very much like the feeling of realizing you're in a dream, and this, you're just sort of floating around in this stuff, this substance, whether you're seeming to be a person in a body interacting with other people in other bodies or what. The feeling of that becomes more centered around the I being like this wash of stuff before you, rather than the I being like a self or a personality or a specific thing. So when that thing occurred to me, God, I just wanted to jump up and down with my hands in the air and do cartwheels and shake people on the shoulders and go, "Oh my God, we did it!" Like a sports team or something, you know, when you're like high five, "We scored the goal, we did it!" Because it's like I can do cartwheels now. I can shake people on the shoulders and explain we did it because they're me. That's great. This self is gone. Long live the self. The self is dead. It was like a little bit of like it was a feeling of like a weird high, right? Where you're sort of like your head is really floaty and you're just suddenly like, oh my God, there are ghosts all. These are like weird appearances of stuff. All me, and I'm that thing, and I'm the ground, and I'm the sky, and that's me, and what the hell is going on? There's like this immense connection to all this weird stuff that's around you, and it's frightening and it's hilarious. And the self, you're just fuck the self. What is that? I don't know anymore. So on the day, I felt like doing cartwheels. I think I was actually doing jumping jacks in the park at one point, just laughing my head off. I was just out of my mind. But the point is that it's not what you think it is. It really isn't. It's insane. It's ever more insane and ever more connected and ever more lovely and terrifying and everything. Yeah. So this all is on.
From friends on the web. That's a two-part, if I may.
Yeah.
Does your realization negate the significance of being human? And the follow-up that came right after is, if the self is gone, then who is your experience happening to?
Wow. What was the first one again?
Does your realization negate the significance of being human?
No, yes. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I guess it's not important to seem or be or feel human. I feel I've always been the same thing. The humanity depends on what the typist means by that, really. Whether they mean morality or mortality or whatever. So it's hard to answer without more context given. And then the second part was again. Give me the second part again.
Yes, of course. If the self is gone, then who is your experience happening to?
Itself. I don't know. And it's funny, I guess, for me to have said the self is gone. The self was never necessarily there, or it's always there. But it's not. The self is not the center of experience anymore. Just experience gets kind of expanded out. So experience is happening to itself. The experience is just occurring in blasts of whatever it presents as, and whatever it presents itself to. I mean, supposedly flowers bloom without me doing anything. But there it is. It's happening to itself, and we don't know.
Would you like to continue with another from this?
Sure.
Yeah. But you are human. Why is it not important to acknowledge the reality of that?
Am I though? Okay, so let's go back to the very first thing. What makes you think that you're a human being? What does that mean to you? What is this definition about? To me, I don't even know what a human being is anymore, to be honest with you. But how can I be a human being? How can I be a human being? What exactly does that mean? It seems bizarre to sort of section that off from all the other stuff that's happening. I could easily be the red also, or I could be anything. It doesn't seem useful to me to define things so preciously, I guess. Like, I don't know what a human being is, and sorry, Internet, from letting you down.
There's another, I'll leave it up to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Flowers don't express unique perspectives. Humans do.
Oh, I would say that a flower exhibits many unique perspectives. Expresses unique perspectives. I think it does. When you see a flower, when the experience sees a flower, there's all kinds of incredible stuff that can happen when you see a flower. When I see a flower, it's insane. The energy that goes, it's insane, and flowers are insane. The energy that literally goes back and forth and exchanges when you look at a flower or when you look at anything is insane. There's an exchange there. That's an expression of something really insane, really wonderful, and really profound. Humans have voice boxes that makes us able to express unique perspectives. Fuck that shit. Flowers are very expressive of unique perspectives. Flowers, looking into a flower just exactly as looking into a piece of wood floor or of laser light coming from the webcam shows me just pure, unadulterated, 100% Tropicana pure premium truth of reality. That's it. That's the unique perspective. I like that.
Anita Bryant's on the line. There's another, if you wish. You have a muse here, a fan. The flowers don't deny they're flowers.
Huh?
They don't call.
I'm wondering if this person is saying that a flower knows that it is itself a flower. It has a flower identity.
There's a clarification. Just came in. What good timing. The only difference between humans and flowers is that humans have voice boxes and can deny they're human.
Feist. Then make me a flower. See if I care. It doesn't mean there's any It doesn't mean I'm any different, right? Just because I can say I'm not human, that doesn't. Yeah, so I can say it. That's great. That's just more energy unfolding, right? This is more reality unfolding and showing itself to itself. The flower's doing the exact same thing. It can't say, I'm not a flower, I'm reality. But the energy exchange says just that. Like, it really does. To me, I hope that can happen to you all out there in internet land, and I hope it can happen to everybody. The energy exchange that happens when you look at something, when you look at anything, it doesn't have to be an object or a flower or anything specific. There's just something more and other than a label there. And that's it. Are they keeping going? Okay.
Shit. Give them a limit.
Flowers have a flower identity, but what identity does Barbie have? This has got to be someone you know.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Cool stuff. They call themselves cool stuff.
Flowers have a flower identity?
What? That was a total nonsense question. I'm sorry.
Right.
That was my answer.
She's asking for little factual questions.
I'm off the internet for a while. No, I don't know. There are so many like logical arguments that you can apply to what's going on if you really want to, and it's just not going to do anything. It's not about a logical argument, right? It's not about coming up with labels and formulas and things that can try and accurately, scientifically display what's going on here so that you can feel like you've got a really good handle on reality. It's not about that. It's just about going that the whoa, the tripping out, the blissed out. It's not about who's got vocal cords. Stephen Hawking did pretty well.
Good point. Score.
So what is your sense of identity? I mean, how would you talk about identity?
Well, I mean, I haven't got much of one now. I would say, in the same thing as the self, identity is sort of basically all imaginary and a bit worthless. It's not to say it's not fun. It's great. It's fun to have an identity. And I play with identity all the time now. Because it's not necessary, because it's funny, right? The not needing an identity and not having an identity makes it easy to adapt whatever identity you wish. So, yeah.
Is there some kind of identification with the full field of experience, or does that not apply?
No, yeah,
focused?
yeah. It's walking around the earth, walking the earth and seeing the trash on the street and just wanting to hug it so much because it's like, it's so amazing. This is reality. This is me too. That's the one I love. The trash on the street. No offense, honey. But there's just so much deliciousness there that, think about the ones we love, right? There's an identification there and like a giving and receiving of this energy that feels pleasant and rewarding and interesting and and familiar, right? And that's equally so with like the sky or the trash cans on the street. It's all this lovely, insane energy that's presenting itself to you, and it's very familiar and very cozy and very floaty and wonderful. And that's the love, man. That's feeling the love. So, I mean, there isn't identifying with that because fundamentally that's the same thing as you, and that energy exchange is there. But I mean, it can just as easily go the other way, right? Feeling sort of horrified. It's a cacophony. It's an energy cacophony, and it is all identifiably personal. It's hilarious to see, for example, sun shining and flowers blooming, and then some couple like arguing at each other on the street corner, or some crazy homeless guy running through the streets going, "Hey, God damn it!" and like screaming at people and stuff like this. Like all this stuff is happening all at once, and it's just this brash thing. But yeah, there's identifying with the freakiness of it too. And to see that, oh my God, that really horrifying thing that I just maybe witnessed is also me. I'm doing that. Okay. And that's a real kick in the pants. So, yeah.
I think you do definitely tend to find the beauty in everything, and that also helps you maintain a positive attitude and outlook.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, there's
just being your friend and knowing you know. Definitely do try to find the beauty in things.
I mean, I guess it's easy to do it. There's just so much endless enjoyment accessible for us all, right? To be an experience and to see the very freaky side of stuff, and the very maybe frightening side of stuff, and to know that there's also all this incredible beauty going on. An indescribable awesomeness just hitting you in the face at all times. It's all accessible there, and it's all there. It's all present, all at the same moment. It's just looking at it, and accessing it. And there's extreme positivity. It's awesome.
Do you have a sense of where you might be heading or going with this? Are you enjoying yourself?
I'm enjoying it. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm heading out into an insane void of possibility or impossibility or I mean, in regard to sitting in the chair and doing the talk? Or
sure,
what?
Yeah, with respect to speaking with people or being available to respond to them.
Yeah, I mean, I love all these dream characters. They're wonderful, and you guys are wonderful dream characters, and It's pleasant to me to engage with that sort of stuff. I mean, we're talking about like the fundamental aspect going on here. It seems more fun than talking about how the sports team did. So, I mean, the more people that want to talk about it, it's cool with me. I mean, it's a crazy question to ask where you're headed, because who the hell knows? But yeah.
Two things from the web. The first one is a simple one. It's an offer for marriage.
Oh, take it. Actually, I've already spoken for it. This guy's sitting right here.
I'll make sure they know.
Thank you.
Our dear friend Stan has a question, if I may.
Okay.
Can you verbalize what was keeping you from this realization before, or what precipitated getting zapped? And further to that, or is it more important for you to just share what it's like now?
I'm not sure if that person's sort of trying to say I'm being self-indulgent or something. What precipitated it? I mean, Stan, I don't know. I can't really say anything precipitated it. I was examining the world as I've been doing my entire life, and being done with it and being curious with it, and yes, for a while I was sort of trying to seek a very firm answer to what's going on here and what I can be devoted to, or something like that. And once I stopped thinking so hard about it, all the desire to do that sort of fell away, and I just kind of started enjoying stuff, enjoying reality, enjoying life, and that's when it happened. So, I mean, it's not like you need to do something to have something like this happen. You just have to enjoy your experience and then see what happens and be loose with it, right?
I forget exactly how I asked it, but was there something in the way?
Oh, it was blocking. I mean, apparently not, because it ended up happening.
Up until that point.
I mean, I didn't feel like I needed it to happen, so maybe not. Perhaps this Stan is asking if there's something that needs to be unblocked for him, and I just don't know. Belief can block stuff up. Belief gets stuck in the filter. Searching and seeking gets jammed in the filter. I can't say. I just sort of have no idea what happened. Or why, or what was blocking. All I can say is that it happened, and it's great, and there doesn't need to be much of a worry around it at all. I would just say the best way to not block yourself is to be loose with it, to not know what you're doing, to flail around and enjoy your flailing and enjoy your confusion.
Yeah. It's a good answer to Stan.
Thanks, Stan. Stan the man.
How's your relationship with your family changed?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's been great. It's been great since I got unbrainwashed from the Christian church, at least. And then from then on, it's been better and better since.
I almost want to say that's kind of when you started letting this all in, just like when you said you got unbrainwashed by the church.
Yeah.
So your parents, like, your father found has similar perspective, right? And you found your mother doesn't really care, which is interesting.
It's
like,
great, actually, yeah.
Something about that, like, different sort of outlooks. Like one of being like not especially interested ever in seeking, but more like your mother, and another one of kind of having found something more like your father, and something about how maybe that doesn't seem, maybe there's both parts of that in you, or how maybe those don't seem different.
Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess, I mean, family is sort of weird, right? Because there's this idea that we were born and that we're made up of these, two people, and their energies and their tendencies and their talents and skills and whatnot. And there is, like, I mean, there's an affection towards that, like, extremely. And it is interesting to hear that my dad had a sort of a zany experience when he was 20-something, and that my mom doesn't care to investigate much at all, or doesn't find any need and just likes to sit back and enjoy. And that my dad's more of an inquirer. But I appreciate both things, and I don't know how it is that I don't know how it is that I came about. I don't know what feeds into that. The idea that we come from these people or these sets of people or these relatives is kind of bizarre in light of the fact that maybe we're one with the universe or whatever. I don't remember our birth. But there is still an affection there, and there's still a realizing that there are, like, energy consistencies between those other two sort of entities or beings or whatever you want to call them. Which is very interesting and very enjoyable. And there are also those energy consistencies between you and whoever you interact with or whatever you interact with. Mm-hmm. So it's just this big. It's a fun, big, interesting game to find out what energy connection do I have to this thing, what energy connection do I have to that thing. I don't have an energy connection to anything. Even if your energy, this is going off the parents thing, it's kind of going off into nowhere land, but if you are talking with someone at a bar and they start to talk about some weird thing, say for me the local sports team, just hate talking about the local sports team, just hate it. Nothing I would rather skip over than talking about the local sports team. But this person really wants to talk about the local sports team, and your energy towards them is just like, I hate when they talk about the sports team. That's an energy connection. Your energy connection is hating what they're talking about. There's energy there. You're exchanging energy with this person, whether you like it or not. It's happening. It doesn't have to be positive energy for there to be an interesting exchange. Mm-hmm. How about that local sports team? Yeah, that kind of went off in the weeds, but. Like, you guys could look at me and say, God, I hate that girl, she's so annoying. And there we're having an energy interaction. How lovely. Precious. Reality. Oh, we've only got a few minutes to go. Any closing thoughts?
Well, it's a kind of logistics for people that might want to follow up with you. Is there a destination, whether a website or a Facebook page that people could, contact you with or ask a question if they wish?
Facebook page. Don't you have one already? Yeah, there can be a Facebook page.
I thought it was called Enlightened Barbie.
Yeah, I guess that's just an event. I don't know if you could just make
Turn it into a page.
You can just make a new page or make a new you can also add me on Facebook.
You might set up your own.
Yeah, I guess I can set up a Enlightenment Barbie Facebook fan page. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
It's evolving.
I don't know how people even found out about this, but we'll inform you.
It'll come up.
I don't know how people found out about this, but we'll inform you
On Facebook.
somehow on Facebook.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other closing ideas?
I guess that you were saying that we're just interactions of energy.
Yeah.
Then, because when the person who's asking the questions about defining humanity, I think they're looking for a more little scientific, factual answer.
Yeah.
Whereas you were trying to convey something that's beyond that, so I think that was kind of lost. But then, would you describe us humans as just balls of energy?
I mean, what I sort of experience with weird energy entities that I encounter, which are, sure, call them humans or call them whatever you want, but they're great things. They're definitely balls of energy that some of them, I really enjoy, you guys really enjoy. And that doesn't, me not identifying that as, necessarily human, doesn't, it doesn't negate the wonderful importance of what's there, What's there is something that's, a part of this amazing, infinite, beautiful experience that is varied and intricate and engaging, and it's not specific necessarily, but that doesn't make it nothing. Balls of energy is a nice way to describe it. This sort of there's stuff there, and it's great. And I guess as far as a scientific explanation for what this stuff is, I have no idea. But
I don't think
but
there
it
is
doesn't.
one.
But yeah, it doesn't negate the importance and the wonderfulness of it. It just means that it's it actually probably adds to the significance and the importance of it to me. The idea that I and you and all this stuff is a big, vast continuum of greatness and subtlety, and that's the bomb.
Yeah, there's no facts to support it, just feelings.
Yeah, we're just feeling it out. I think that's a good place to end it.
Very good. Thank you, Gillian.
Oh, thank you.